Hey, go live, please. Yay! Hopefully this works now. Still waiting to find this silly thing, so or something to show up here. I don't know if it's gonna be on their Twitter or what it's gonna be. No, I want to hear myself right now. That's a little silly. I was gonna like give a little debrief, but like why bother, you know? Just have to just like jump on it like an idiot, like at any moment, like. Because I have to turn my audio back on and fucking this and that and whatever. And for now, we'll do this. There we go. So what's kind of what's going on here? Why is it such a big deal? So, I just gotta like spitball here and try to explain. So there were rumors like 2 or 3 weeks. So it all started when Hi-Fi Rush got an update on. God, I got my hair's so fucking long. I gotta like tuck it under my headphones properly here. Hi-Fi Rush got an update adding a few more in-game t-shirts, and they added platform-specific ones. Hi-Fi Rush is only on PC and Xbox, and so there's a Steam-specific one and an Xbox-specific shirt. But then people data mined it, and they found shirts that were blue and red, and say things like "I'm here too" and "On the go" or whatever, right? So people are like, does that mean it's coming to Switch or whatever? So then rumors started circulating that maybe Xbox is going to bring Starfield to PlayStation, and then it was, they're going to bring Halo, and then they're also going to bring this and that and this and that, and it got out of control. And so then Phil Spencer a week ago said, hey, we're going to have an update for you guys a week from now, and we'll have a little press conference thing. So that's really fun. But the way they phrased it here, if I look at the tweet, right? So the Xbox, let me go find the Phil Spencer tweet. A week ago, he said, we're listening and we hear you. We've been planning a business update event for next week where we look forward to sharing more details with you about our vision for the future of Xbox. Stay tuned. So that's not amazing, right? And then the official Xbox account said, please join us for a special edition of the official Xbox podcast. You're from Phil Spencer, Sarah Bond, and Matt Booty as they share updates on the Xbox business, which doesn't sound good. That's not really something gamers want to hear, right? You know what it sounds like to me? It's like Xbox is breaking up with us. They're like, yeah, we're going to start putting all of our titles elsewhere. And so at face value, right, that's actually a good thing because we want more people to be able to play more games, right? So it's not necessarily a horrible thing, but in the bigger picture, right, that means that PlayStation has less competition because already, everybody knows that PlayStation succeeds and excels, whatever, based on their exclusives. And so if Xbox now puts their exclusives on PlayStation and Switch, then it just becomes irrelevant. And it's like, why would you buy an Xbox at that point when you literally can just get the same performance and more games to be able to be played by buying a PlayStation, right? So the downside, again, that's on the face value, that's a good thing, right? But in the grand scheme of things, that's bad because that means that PlayStation loses its direct competition, and competition is good for the consumer because it means that companies have to work harder to earn your money. Hypothetically, ideally, right? That's not always the case, unfortunately, but that's what should happen. So this doesn't sound very good. Something about Xbox, we're still gonna make consoles, guys. Ha ha ha. I don't know. It's really awkward. So just weird. And it's interesting that and then it's funny, I'm kind of going like game journalist mode almost. And hey, if I have to be the guy to actually make good commentary on gaming topics, then that's just what it is. I got to do a little bit of everything. So then yesterday, a couple things related to PlayStation. Wario tweeted out saying, I mean, I can just show this shit, can't I? If I'm clever about it. Hold on here. Yeah, let's... Can I trust this shit to work? Yeah, let's do it. Okay. Fuck it. What do I have to lose, dude? Okay. Here you go. All right. So, Warrior64 says Sony Interactive Entertainment will not release any new major existing franchise titles before March 31st, 2025. So, no big, exclusive releases. Quote, regarding first-party software, we aim to continue to focus on producing high-quality works and developing live service games, Sony Group President, Chief Operating Officer, and Chief Financial Officer Hiroki Totoki said. But while major projects are currently under development, we do not plan to release any new major existing franchise titles next fiscal year. Editor's note, begins April 1st, 2024, and ends March 31st, 2025, like God of War Ragnarok and Marvel Spider-Man 2. So that's not good. They're just saying up front that, hey, we got no... we're not planning anything big for the next year, which is not good. I don't think you should... I don't know. I mean, this was an internal thing, right? It's not like they came out to the players to say that, but it's just kind of a silly thing. And then, over here you got this guy quoting saying, it's been 4 months since I became chairman of Sony Interactive Entertainment. A big problem of Sony Interactive Entertainment that I found is that they don't necessarily have deep understanding of how their work is being translated to growth, generation of sustainable profits, and higher margin for the unit as a whole. So there's this guy that's really smug about it. But it's just interesting to think about. They put out Helldivers recently, which isn't developed by them, but it is published by them. And of course, Helldivers is on PC and PlayStation same day. And they're obviously putting more and more of their games on PC over time. So it's looking like both Xbox and Sony, at least, I mean, Xbox is quote unquote giving up harder, but Xbox is, putting their stuff on other platforms, and Sony's like, yeah, we're just going to start putting our shit elsewhere. So now we're left with the weird, personally, what I find unfortunate reality of Nintendo being the last company really standing here. And I have no problem with that. The only problem I have with it is that the Switch is I would rather play Nintendo's games on literally any other platform. It's just not strong enough. The games don't run well enough. The games don't render high enough for my liking. That's all. I don't even need them to be developed better or anything. I just want to see what the developers made, what their art, style and whatever. I want to see that running in 60 FPS, rendering in 4K, or at least rendering in 1080p. The Switch can't even output 4K, right? At least, consoles that can output a 4K signal, maybe aren't rendering a game at 4K the whole time, but the Switch caps out at 1080p. So it's weird. I think also there's a Nintendo thing here. Yeah, I'm getting into wrestling. What are you going to do about it? I really got to just not feel bad about showing my Twitter like this, right? There's supposed to be... I don't know. Oh shit, that's tomorrow? Mario vs. Donkey Kong, that's crazy. Anyway, I don't know. A bunch of silly stuff. So, we're waiting to see this shit kick in, but maybe it isn't, so who knows. There we go. So that's why the funny tagline for today is Xbox breaks up with us, Oh, man. Where is this thing? Oh, here we go. All right. I guess it's not really live, is it? Oh, they just put it out. It's 22 minutes. All right, chat. Here we fucking go. Okay. So unmute it. Unmute the desktop audio here. Close these things out. And all right, chat. Here we fucking go. All right. What's going to happen, guys? Let's send it. What is it called? Updates on the Xbox business. Oh, no. That can't be good, guys. No.
Hello and welcome to the official Xbox podcast. I'm your host, Tina Amini, and we have a very special episode today, as you can probably tell by the fact that I'm joined by Phil, Sarah, and Matt. Welcome. And we're going to talk about some updates at Xbox. We want to talk about game exclusivity. We want to talk about Activision Blizzard now that they're part of our portfolfolio.
Because this isn't live and it was more so that it's just something they put out, I'll probably be pausing it to talk about stuff along the way. So
be an impact on Game Pass. And
I don't
we
like that there's chapters.
Too, and how all of this fits into the strategy at Xbox. So where should we start, Phil?
Well, when we originally had planned for the show, starting back in December, I think
in
we
December
probably would have started with Activision Blizzard, maybe talked a little bit about the exclusivity with some of the news coming up, and then hardware. But we've had some unforeseen news that has come out. So let's just go and tackle the exclusivity question, because I know it's on the minds of a lot of people. We hear from the community, and that's an important.
Oh God, what are you guys doing? No.
So we made the decision that we're going to take 4 games to the other consoles. Just 4 games. Not a change to our kind of fundamental exclusive strategy. We're making these decisions for some specific reasons. We make every decision really with the long-term health of Xbox in mind. And long-term health of Xbox means a growing platform, our games performing, building the best platform for creators, reaching as many players as we can.
And so, I mean, you can grow the Xbox platform by putting the games on other platforms, but that's not really buying people into Xbox as a brand, because I think what Xbox does best right now is their UI and like their backward compatibility. So features of the Xbox as a console and a platform, as opposed to their games, right? Which, you could argue is not even worth talking about, right? That's totally fine. But at least that's what makes Xbox better for me. So I don't think putting their games on other platforms is really going to help them do that. But what do I know? I think my gut response wanted to be, actually the hard work to get people into the Xbox platform is to put out better games. But, that's the hard answer, right? So
we're always looking to learn.
So one's going to be Hi-Fi Rush, presumably.
And to grow, and we think this is an interesting point in time for us.
What do we want to think? Hi-Fi Rush, Halo, Starfield, and Forza? It's got to be new stuff, right? You can't put like Gears 5 on there without the other Gears games or whatever, right? But I think if they do, I think they can get away with Hi-Fi Rush and Starfield, but if they put Halo on PlayStation, that's going to suck. I don't know, man.
Us to use what some of the other platforms have right now to help grow our franchises. So we're going to do that.
So these 4 titles, what are they? Can you say?
I'm not going to name those games. The teams that are building those games have announced plans that are not too far away.
No.
As we know, game teams put a lot of energy into their announcements with the partners. So I don't want to take anything away from those teams. So I won't be talking about the titles specifically, but I think when they come out,
damn it.
It'll make sense.
Can we say if either of those titles are Starfield or Indiana Jones?
They are not Starfield or Indiana Jones.
Okay.
Well, what was the criteria in how the team was thinking about selecting those 4 titles?
Let me start a little bit outside of that, and then I'll get to the 4 specific games that we're talking about right now. Because the fundamental decision driver for any decision that we make, anything we're going to talk about today, is the long-term health of Xbox. That we're running a growing platform that is reaching more players, that our games are having as much success as possible. And I do have a fundamental belief that over the next 5 or 10 years, exclusive games that are exclusive to one piece of hardware, are going to be a smaller and smaller part of the game industry. And that's not some great insight, because if you look at the last 10 years and what the biggest games are today, it's a natural place. Whether it's one console and PC, multiple consoles, mobile console and PC, you see big games landing on multiple platforms. And we want to be a great platform for creators that are trying to realize that potential. But now back to the specifics of the question on these four specific titles. We looked at games that are over a year old, so they've been on Xbox and PC for a while.
Yeah.
A couple of the games are community-driven games, new games that kind
Probably
of
Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves was teasing something yesterday or whatever. So it's probably Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves and something else.
Community-driven games, new games that kind of first iterations of a franchise that have reached their full potential, I'd say, on Xbox and PC. There's always growth. Franchises that we obviously want to continue to invest in. Part of having the ability to continue to invest is that the businesses behind those franchises continue. We think it's important that these service-based games that have communities behind them, that they can have confidence that they're going to exist in the future. So 2 of them, kind of community-driven games that will end up on other platforms and give us the ability to continue to invest in them. We think that's great for the business and great for the community.
Sea of Thieves and Fallout 76 or Elder Scrolls Online, perhaps?
2 of the other games are smaller games.
No, Fallout and Elder Scrolls are already on
never really
PlayStation.
meant to be built as kind of platform exclusives and all the fanfare that goes around that. But games that our teams really wanted to go build, that we love supporting creative endeavors across our studios, regardless of size. And as they've realized their full potential on Xbox and PC, we see an opportunity to utilize the other platforms as a place to just drive
Rare
more business
Replay?
value
I'm
out of
gonna
those
make some
games,
notes here.
allowing us to invest in maybe future iterations of those, so sequels to those, or just other games like that in our portfolio. And when we don't damage Xbox and we can grow our business using what other platforms have and to help us with that, we're going to do that. And that's really the story behind these 4 games. And last thing I'll say, looking forward, I think there is an interesting story for us of introducing Xbox franchises to players on other platforms to get them more interested in Xbox. We think there's a good brand value for Xbox there. So 4 games, no promise beyond that. So if you're on those other platforms and you see these 4 games coming, please don't take it as some signal that everything's coming. It's not. And we're going to learn.
So when you are thinking about the future and this concept of live service games, games that can benefit from bigger audiences, new audiences, how does that apply to future titles and how you're applying that criteria there?
Yeah, there's really no fundamental change to how we think about exclusivity. We just came out of Developer Direct, which was an awesome show, where we showed great games that are coming to
Age of
Xbox
Empires,
and
maybe?
PC and cloud, which really makes them accessible to hundreds of millions of people. So it's this kind of, we're really focused on a couple platforms and what's going to show up there. But our key of play the games you want with the people you want, anywhere you want, when everybody plays, we all win. These have been part of our strategy for years and will continue to be. Our focus is on how do we continue to grow the games industry by reaching more players in more places, and how do we grow Xbox as part of that. Xbox is a hardware platform, Xbox is a publisher of great games, and Xbox as a platform for the world's best creators.
And then knowing that, how do we think about our first-party games and Game Pass?
Yeah, well, to build on what Phil just said, one thing I would add, as you were talking about growth, is just that we've sort of seen this inversion over the last 5 years where it used to be that the platform was the biggest thing.
That's right.
And the games would sort of tuck in within the platform. Today, big games like a Roblox or a Fortnite could actually be bigger than any one platform.
Yeah.
And that really has changed the way that we think about things. So in the midst of all that, I think
it is interesting to think that like Fortnite and Roblox are bigger than, like an entire platform, so then a lot of games these days are being developed to be live service, which is like really just fucked up. Because people only have so much time, right? You don't have, if you like Halo, if you like Call of Duty, you probably could spend all of your time just trying to like max out the battle pass and complete all the challenges in both of those games all the time. And then you literally don't have time to do anything else,
First party can come back to sort of some core principles. First, that all of our games will be on the Xbox platform. Second, all of our games will go into Game Pass on day 1. And third, we know that Game Pass will only be available on Xbox. So there's sort of starting points for us. As Phil mentioned, there are games today that you can play that only can be found on Xbox. And at the same time, we want to bring more of our games to more players. So we're going to continue to look at that. Kind of moving aside, though, from some of those and thinking more about what does it really mean for the player, to me, the 2 key things are cross-play and cross-save. Those things allow us to deliver on the promise of Xbox.
Oh yeah,
which
cross-play.
is play with your friends where they are, play on the devices you want, play the games you want. So that is really only possible at a practical level when you know that your saves and your player are going to be able to move across all those parts. So not all of our games today are necessarily built to take advantage of that. There still will be some games that don't. As we bring more teams into the Xbox family, there's some catch up to do as we get there. But that cross-play, cross-save is like so fundamental to what we're doing, and I think is something that we as first party get such a good benefit from being so close to the platform.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the things, like you said, all of our games are always in Game Pass. And so I'm excited to announce, with the coming together that we had with Activision Blizzard King, that Activision and Blizzard games are coming to Game Pass, starting with Diablo 4 on March 28th, which I'm super, super excited to share today. And it's all part of our commitment to make Xbox, the Xbox experience, and the games that we build as widely available as possible. So now the 34 million Game Pass members can all enjoy the fantastic experience of Diablo 4.
Amazing. Can we come back to the point, Phil, you mentioned at the top, this isn't really a change in strategy for us. Can you recap for me how it isn't?
Yeah, and I thought both Matt and Sarah did a really nice job of talking about what we're doing on Xbox, where we're going. If you take a platform feature like Xbox Play Anywhere, which has been a promise that we've made on our first party games, that you can buy our game once, you're going to get to play across Xbox and Windows.
And it's good.
The only platform that does this.
Yeah, are they going to talk about how, that's something they didn't really do a great job of? Like, they did it at first, they did a great job of following up, but then after that, they didn't really,
That makes it possible for you not only to play with your friends wherever they are, but to know that you actually have multiple entitlements to the games. I think that's a technology I would love to see applied to more platforms. But it is this view.
If only it could apply to Steam, dude. If fucking only, man.
In multiple places. Whether it's play the games you want with the people you want, anywhere you want, whether it's content, community, and cloud, whether it's when everybody plays, we all win. Like, we've had different taglines, different strategy, kind of words that we've used, but always with this view that Xbox is a platform for creators who want to reach the most players. Our investments in xCloud, our investments in franchises like Minecraft and now Call of Duty and other large franchises so that we learn how to build those. This has been a strategy that we've been on for, I'd say, a decade. It's not about one device. It's not about games in service of a device, but rather the devices that people want to play on should be in service of making the games as big and popular as they possibly could be. Because really, a healthy creator community on Xbox, a healthy creator community in gaming all up, is the thing that all of us as game players should be voting for, because that's the thing that will lead to the best long-term success and growth in this industry.
And my understanding, just from listening and learning from you three over the past few weeks, just understanding what's happening with Xbox, is that we see trends with player behavior where people are playing on multiple devices. That is the reality. And we have put some games out on multiple platforms before. So my understanding is that that's been good for players. How does that come back to the business with all of that in mind?
Yeah, as you said, we have shipped games on other platforms. In fact, realistically, if you look with the addition of Activision and Blizzard and ZeniMax, we're one of the largest game publishers on PlayStation. We're one of the largest publishers on the Nintendo Switch, especially when you put Minecraft into the equation as well. And now we're one of the largest publishers.
That's funny.
On mobile.
That's funny to think that he's basically just like, yeah, I mean, we already are one of the biggest third-party publishers. Deal with it,
Well, and that's not something that we want to back away from. We want to continue to be building great games that millions and millions of people can love, and that they can play those games where they want to go play. But we do understand the business success that Xbox has to have. Us as leaders in this business, the system today, the system that all companies that we play video games from, is a world of you got to be growing your business. Growth in our Xbox business is critical to the long term.
It's always that capitalistic growth, man. God damn it.
Xbox for over 20 years. And I want to make sure Xbox is in the best position for the next 20 years. That means healthy player community, healthy creator community, and healthy business. So when we look at opportunities to allow more people to play, more people to engage, more people to buy, more people to subscribe, it's all about putting Xbox in the best position. And our hardware is a critical component of that. The absolute best experience somebody has on Xbox is hardware that your team builds and that people play on. But that's not going to be everybody. We fully accepted that we're going to have Xbox players across all kinds of devices.
So I think a lot of people think about 2023 as this incredible year for gaming. And in a lot of ways it was. There were some really amazing releases that I think we all enjoyed. But what were the signals behind the scenes that maybe indicated how we wanted to look at the future of Xbox and how we kind of keep up with the industry?
Yeah, such a good question. And I think it's as people who care about the industry, which I assume is people who are watching this.
Yeah. Hey, look, hey, here I am. Wow.
Some of the games that I think will stand the test of time and people will be talking about a decade from now. But it's an industry that didn't really grow. And what happens when an industry doesn't grow?
What do you mean by that?
You end up with some job eliminations, which we had. We had even our own hard decisions to make about building a sustainable business for ourselves. But in no way were we alone in that. When you think about a healthy industry.
But what do you mean by it didn't grow? I don't know. I thought he meant artistically or like as like a product. I guess, right? As a product, he means like it didn't really grow as a product because obviously it has grown as an industry. I think the problem with video games right now is that it has exploded so fucking insanely as a profitable market and as an industry that now there's just so many companies out there, both, tiny little indies that just want to make good games and also, AAA, huge publishers that are like, we just want to make a fuckload of money with a bunch of live service games. I think the problem is that now more and more people are trying to divide up this pie, and the pie is absolutely fucking massive now, but, there's also way more people trying to cut it apart and get a piece, So I don't know what he means by, how hasn't it grown?
I want players who believe that they will find the best games on the platforms that they love. I want people who invest their careers in working here to feel like this is a place that they can be successful. And that really is down to being part of an industry that is growing. If you listen to Lisa Su, the AMD CEO, she'll say that AMD-powered consoles are likely to decline in 2024. I think there's an amazing set of games coming in 2024, but if we don't get to growing as an industry, the industry will struggle. And today there's really two choices on how do you grow the industry. Do you say I have a fixed number of players, the players that we have today, and do I find new ways to monetize those players to get more money from the players that I have? Or do you think about how do I expand the business
and get more players
by finding new players?
Yes, but like
adding those.
The publishers are monetizing people, right?
Our focus on Xbox.
I guess he's looking at from the console angle, right? Where it's like, I don't know, it's just weird. Again, like it just doesn't. It's not really. I don't think he's being dumb. I just think he's trying to make it a little corporate sanitized because, like, obviously, video games have grown and continue to grow as an industry. There are more people getting into video games over time. I think it's just that like, oh, well, of course, there's more people getting Switches, more people getting PlayStations, more people getting Xboxes, more people building PCs, whatever, right? But I think the problem is that it's like, how can we grow even more? So even though he's phrasing it as if like, yeah, we're not really growing at all, and that's a problem, it's more so that he's like, well, we want to grow even more. And that's, as they said earlier, that's kind of been their push for like the past 10 years. And with Game Pass, that's absolutely been the case. It's less about moving consoles and moving games. It's the same as like almost everything video game wise and a lot of things in general in society, and how it's all about like recurring payments as opposed to buying something once and moving on. Xbox is far more interested in having a consistent Game Pass player base that they can say, all right, well, we have this much coming in every month, regardless of whatever the fuck else we do, right? Whereas, if you put out a game, if you put out a new console, it's really hard to tell how many you're going to sell of this or that, So, yeah.
Last decade has really been on that latter point of how do we make sure Xbox is growing for our players, growing for our creators. So those people are finding success on our platform, which will grow the Xbox business and put Xbox in a position to be very strong for years and decades to come.
Matt, earlier you were talking about these growing gaming communities, how they're incredibly large and comparable on such a different level when we think about console audiences. Like you mentioned Roblox, you mentioned Fortnite. So how are we're obviously thinking about our responsibility, our hardware responsibility is supporting the growth of gaming communities. How has that actually shown up for the players? Are there other games we can speak to from our portfolio?
Well, as Phil mentioned, two of the biggest ones for us, Call of Duty and Minecraft, they are driven just from the bottom up by the communities of people that play those games, which is so great. Think about it, for the player community, it comes down to where are the friends, where are the people you play with, and then equally important is where have you built up your library of games, right? Where have you invested? Where's that library? I think those two things probably are some of the biggest influences on where people choose to play and what devices they choose to play.
Yeah.
When we think about, on the other side, the developer side, just any game developer wants their game to find the biggest audience possible. That's just the nature of building a game. You want people to enjoy and participate in what you've made. And I think we're in a unique position to deliver on that just because we are the platform. We build hardware, we've got a first-party games group, and then we've got a system that ties that together, that brings together your friends, your progression, your achievements, all of that. And I think that's really what has contributed to the momentum behind some of these communities.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you look at, just step back and you look at the history of the industry, we've moved from a place where it used to be that someone built and launched a game to accelerate hardware to actually the things we do with our hardware and with our platform are all in service of making those games bigger. And we think about that across all of the investments we make, the consoles we build, the investments we do with things like cross-play, cross-progression, the things that we're doing with cloud. How do we actually give more options to game creators so they can have the greatest success? I think one of the fun recent examples about this is actually Power World. You know, Power World was able to launch, they were a game preview, they launched in Game Pass,
obliterated
they also
everything.
simultaneously launched in Steam. And through the combination of those things, you know, Pocket Pair was able to have this outsized success, and it was the largest third-party Game Pass launch ever. And that's all because we give creators options on how they can launch their games. We've got subscription, we've got retail, we've got free-to-play, we've got game preview. We have the consoles, we have our experience on PC, and they can access all of those things. And when we step back and we just look at the performance of our platform all up, we know it's working. We're at the highest level of users on console, the highest level of users on PC, the highest level of users on cloud ever. We have double-digit growth rate on PC and cloud, places where we're enabling creators.
And you're saying these things, and so therefore, yes, obviously the industry is growing. I don't know why Phil phrased it the way he did.
To actually reach new players beyond the console ecosystem. And that's why we're leaning into it and doing more, because we see all those signals.
So we're talking about the role that hardware plays for creators, for the games and those communities. What about the role that hardware plays for us as a business, for Xbox?
When we look at our hardware, it really is, and Phil said this earlier, it's where you get like the most flagship seminal experience of Xbox. And it also represents a developer target. Our developers can build the specs of our hardware, and we invest to make sure they know when they do that the games are going to go great on our hardware, but they're also going to be able to be accessed across any screen because of all the other investments we make. So we're giving them an easy way to access as many players as possible. And we actually have more creators right now building for Xbox than ever before thousands of them by nature of those investments. And we got more to come. There's some exciting stuff coming out in hardware that we're going to share this holiday. And we're also invested in the next generation roadmap. And what we're really focused on there is delivering the largest technical leap you will have ever seen in a hardware generation, which makes it better for players and better for creators.
All right, I like that. Okay.
And then when we're talking about hardware too, there's
They're talking about, you know, they've got stuff they want to talk about. Oh, here. Ooh, I like this chapter, huh? Yeah, they're talking about they have plans for the holiday for hardware, and also, you know, they're planning on making their next generation the biggest leap in hardware ever. Those are some pretty fucking big words, right? But I'm eager. I don't need a mid-grade Xbox upgrade, but I will take the next generation, you know, 3 years from now or whatever.
these other considerations that are really important to our community, probably to each one of ourselves as well.
All right, I'm going to get shot down, but can we get even more backward compatible titles? Can we get even more FPS boost, please? Like, let's go back. Let's do more work for it, okay? Once the work is done, the work is done, right? Can we just do more of it, please?
When you talk about library, because I want to dig in on that a little bit more, you know, as we talk about cloud in the wider entertainment industry, there's conversations about streaming. How is that impacting how I own my content that I've invested in? So what can we say about our stance around game preservation?
Yeah, you know, one of the highlights for me of being in this position was getting to stand on stage when we announced the back compat coming to Xbox One. I was reading the teleprompter before I could read it. I'm a slow reader, and just feeling the energy in the auditorium as we were saying that and online. You know, one of the cues I think us as being part of Microsoft take is looking at Windows and how Windows over decades has maintained software compatibility with things that are built on it. Like I can still go back and play some of the games that I love playing on Windows from decades ago, and it will still run. And we try to bring that same view to consoles. It's harder in console because the line between what the hardware is and what the game is in consoles is traditionally, it's tighter, which
narrow.
Makes compatibility, you end up doing these generational compatibilities that we've built. But I will say compatibility, the ability to not only play the games, but my saves are still there with our cloud save systems to try to keep the services up as long as we can so that people can play, is a tenet of what we are as Xbox. It's at our foundation. And when we look at future hardware generations and what we're going to support, making sure that we respect, which is the word I use, respect the investments that people have made in Xbox.
You know what they should do? They should find a way to build Zinnia into the next Xbox so they can emulate all the 360 games, you know?
Forward is fundamental. And the fact that you get entitlements when you buy a game from us on both Windows and Xbox also means you have the ability to play that game across a multitude of devices, which I think furthers the compatibility of the games that you own.
Can we go back to what Xbox stands for today? I think we've pretty much covered all of the elements, but if you could break it down for me.
You know, when you play on Xbox, what we're saying is you're playing on a platform where you know the biggest games in the world are always going to be. You're playing on a platform where you get to access Game Pass. And all of the games from our incredible range of studios will always launch in Game Pass day one. And you're playing on a platform that's dedicated to you, like player-first features, cross-play, cross-save, cross-progression, backwards compatibility, being able to play your games in your library anywhere you want because of the investments that we make in cloud gaming. And so you're playing somewhere where you're investing and you know you get to take the games forward with you and across all of the screens where you are. And I think most importantly, Xbox is a place where you know when you're investing in Xbox, you're investing somewhere that is dedicated to making games more successful and creators more successful so that they can invest more to bring even better experiences to you all of the time.
Yeah, just that investment in the studios is so, and we feel that as part of first party with the platform proximity. You know, it's kind of amazing now to look out across all the studios that we've got and just be reminded that we're now one of the biggest development organizations in the industry. What does that mean for players? It means that the biggest games are going to continue to come to Xbox. And this 2024, the year coming up, we've got more than 10 major releases coming up. Great stuff. Hellblade 2. We've got Diablo expansion. We've got Avowed, Ara, the Indiana Jones game. And there's more in development, which I think we're going to be able to share more about at our June showcase coming up pretty soon.
Well, I guess I should get ready to work on that show. Well, thank you all for showing up on the podcast today, and we'll see the rest of you this June.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tina.
Thank you.
Yay. Oh, God. I don't know. So, yeah, they just... look at this. Isn't this amazing? Let's see here. I've been getting into wrestling. Sorry, chat. Okay. So, then if we grab this tab really quick... oh my God, we have to like open every one of these, don't we? So they posted this alongside the thing. So let's just take a gander through here. I kind of glimpsed it earlier, and then we'll talk about what games it could be. Because they said, yeah, we're bringing 4 games elsewhere, but they wouldn't tell us what. I think there's a Nintendo showcase very soon, maybe tomorrow or something, and that's when they'll probably announce Hi-Fi Rush. So... Xbox is keeping our promise to bring more games to more players around the world with an incredible year of major releases like Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, Avowed, Ara History Untold, Towerborn, and more. 2024 is going to be great for Xbox players around the world, and we can't wait to see you in June for the Xbox Showcase. Today, we are also continuing our commitment to expanding the communities we reach. We are in the process of bringing 4 Xbox games to other platforms. These are games which have been available to Xbox players for at least a year, including hidden gems that deserve to be experienced more widely, and live service games whose communities will benefit from welcoming even more players. We'll share more details on these titles soon. As we begin to fulfill our promise to offer Activision Blizzard games with Game Pass, we're happy to share Diablo 4 will be available with Game Pass on console and PC on March 28th. Game Pass will continue to only be available on Xbox platforms and will have all first-party games playable on day one. Xbox hardware will also continue to be a flagship experience for players and for game developers to launch games on, with a robust and innovative multi-year hardware roadmap, including more console and controller options for you this holiday. Ooh, they're gonna put out the new controller. Oh. Xbox will continue to be a platform where you will play the biggest games, a platform that is dedicated to you with features like backwards compatibility, cross-save, cross-play, and robust cloud features. This all means that the biggest games in the world will be available on Xbox with continued Game Pass Day 1 releases, a multi-year hardware roadmap, and a commitment to a player-first platform. We are here to help game creators reach the largest audience possible. The biggest games are larger than any one platform. Check out our full blog and podcast here for all the details. Yeah, look at this. Basically glorified beta testers. Yeah, what do you guys get from in return? People are mad, right? Okay. But let's think here. So we know that it's 2 community driven. The 4 games that will be going non-exclusive are 2 community titles and 2 games that were never really supposed to be exclusives in the first place. One of them almost guaranteed Hi-Fi Rush at this point. You can bet on that. It's definitely a hidden gem that did not get enough credit because Hi-Fi Rush is a fucking amazing game and it feels like an actual video game, which is awesome. One of the community games, probably Sea of Thieves, maybe Age of Empires, maybe Grounded, Other ideas are like the Age of Empires definitive editions, probably Age 2 definitive or 4, and maybe Forza. Right, but they deconfirmed Starfield and they deconfirmed Indiana Jones. So I don't really know what else it could be, but those are my ideas for what it could be. So that will conclude this little funny stint. I think I'll come back in just a little bit for some Lost Judgment. Oh yeah. So